Welcome to your routine to relieve sciatica pain and back pain. This routine is stabilising as well as strengthening and uses stretching to relieve that pain. We work with the lower back, the pelvis and the abdominal to really help build those muscles as well as relieve that pressure that sciatica nerve is causing. With these postures and movements, please be very mindful and aware of your own body throughout the routine. If there's any pain at all, if there's any real discomfort, and it just feels really icky and uncomfortable, just stop and either ease back or come into a pose that feels good for you. So this might be child's pose, or it may be lying on your back in a savasana with the legs up. So it's really important to listen to your back, listen to your body, especially with the lower back. And it's really great to pick a few of these moves that feel really good for your body, whether that's a more strengthening one or a stretching one, and implement it throughout your day. So choosing one or many, and setting a timer throughout the day, whether that's every half an hour or 2 hours, and getting up and just coming in to that movement. Doing this is really what's going to relieve your pain and have you free from that back pain. So to start, we're just going to become aware of how we're standing in our posture. Having the feet hip width apart, and you can check this by having 2 fists between the feet. And the second toe is facing towards the front. If this feels uncomfortable for the hips, you can have the feet to turn out slightly, just finding what feels good and finding what feels comfortable here. But wherever you are, just rocking into the feet, rocking forwards and rocking back, maybe shifting the weight side to side. You can start to close the eyes here. Just feeling into the feet, connecting to the earth. And then when you find that center point where you just become still, just stay there. Take a deep breath in. Imagine your breath coming out from the feet. And then let it out. Melting your feet perfectly aligned, perfectly balanced to the earth beneath you. Having a slight bend in the knees here, just bouncing into the feet. Having the knees softly bent, drawing up to the buttocks. So throughout this practice, we're really drawing our attention and our awareness to this pelvis area, and the hips, the lower back, and the abdominals. So drawing your attention to your buttocks, and just imagine that you're holding a coin between there. You're holding it in place without letting it drop to the ground. And now release that coin. So throughout this practice, again, just releasing the buttocks, releasing that tension there, and just imagine that you're dropping the coin. Drop it out. And that's going to, in itself, just help unwind, relieve that pressure from the lower back here. And when we do that, we're also going to have another opposition occurring. So we drop the coin, and at the same time, we're going to draw and hug the navel in to the spine. Drop the coin, hug the navel in. So this is that belly button area. Imagine that it's drawing in and up, not tensing. Imagine it's like a hug, drawing it back, in and up. You can also imagine that we're zip-locking the lower ribs to the pubic bone here. So that abdominal, we have that activation here, but we also have that lengthening and that release of pressure and tension in the lower back through dropping that coin there. So it's all hugging in and up throughout the front body. And that in itself, just activating the core muscles, that intra-abdominal pressure, going to help build and stabilize this area. Especially if we're sitting down all the time, we're just hanging in our joints and we're hanging in our lower back. So drawing the navel up and in, let the coin go. And from here, lift the heart, the sternum, that flat bone in the middle of the chest, lift it up towards the sky, and then draw the crown of the head, shine it towards the roof. Glide the chin in slightly, allow the body to just come into a balanced state. Let the arms go by the sides, hugging and drawing that navel in. Taking a few breaths here. We're going to place the palms on the back, the lower back. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see the tops of the palms, just pressing into the lower back, the fingers pressing down towards the earth, down towards the buttocks here. And just with this pelvic push, really bringing some awareness here, so we're being nice and gentle to begin with. So especially if you've been sitting down, to get up and do this is going to feel really nice. Sink into the feet, sink into the heels, let the coin go, hug the navel in, shine the heart up, and with those hands, just with the palms, press in to the pelvis here, just pushing it slightly forwards. Inhale, come back up. Now we're not dropping or hanging back, it's really just moving, shifting the pelvis forward. So breathe in, and then breathe out, press the pelvis forward, shine the chest forward, elbows draw back behind us. It's a bit of engagement with the upper arms and the back and the shoulders too. Inhale, come back up. And one more. Exhale, press the pelvis forward, just really gently here, just pressing and gliding it forward. Draw the navel in, hug it in as you lift back up. Have the hands to the side of the hips, just doing some hip circles. Here again, we're just coming to the side. Have feet a little wider this time. Hips to the side and just making a big circle as if you have a paintbrush and you're just drawing a really big circle. And we're just loosening out all of this fascia here, the muscles, those big hip muscles all around the hip socket. And you can take your time here. If there's any sticky bits, just rub and go back and forth here. Might be around the hip to the side, might be towards the back. And then coming to the other side, really mindfully, slowly gliding the hips in a big circle, just smoothing out any sticky areas. And again, really careful when we glide it to the front. Allowing our hips to do that full rotation that we just don't get throughout the day, especially if we're sitting. This can be a great one just to do every 15-20 minutes, just to get up and smooth out any sticky areas, going back and forth. And just imagine that you're moving through honey or moving through water, so it's really smooth. And like throughout this routine, we're just going to draw our attention again and again to the navel, to hugging in the navel, the belly button going towards the spine, just protecting our lower back here. And then we're dropping that coin as well to relieve pressure from the lower back. Just standing up nice and tall, just noticing how you feel. If there's any relief already from the hips and the back. Coming into a forward fold, but with a few special additions to it. So we're going to have our feet nice and wide. Grab your block as well, or some books, and just going to place that in front of you. Have the feet maybe a little bit wider than hip width apart. Just bouncing into that, finding that balance, that connection with the earth beneath you. Allow the toes to be nice and light against the ground. Now let's just look towards that posture. Let the coin go. Hug the navel in. We're going to bring our arms up above us. Let the shoulders glide down the back. Again, notice if the navel, if the belly is dropped down. We don't want our guts spilling out onto the ground because that's really going to put pressure on that lower back. So just imagine that you're hugging the navel in and you're not letting your guts spill out onto the ground. And when we do that, release the coin. With that in mind, the arms are up. We're going to sink the hips towards the back of the room as if you're really getting deep into the hip sockets here. Push back and extend the arms forward, going over into a forward fold with the knees bent. And you can have the hands on the block in front of you. Allow the heels to sink in, shine the buttocks, the sit bones towards the sky. Let the head be heavy, maybe tuck the chin.
From here, we're going to keep the right knee really bent, so press into the heel, bend the knee, straighten the left leg as much as possible, so draw the knee up and back, and that thigh is really nice and tight here. Just maybe tap it and see if it is engaged, that thigh muscle. Knees drawing up, so you can have the hands on the block to keep you up a little bit higher, or you can have them onto the ground. I like having mine on the block just for a little bit of extra push here. So right knee is bent, left leg is straight, the knee drawing up and back. Let the head be heavy and just notice here, drawing that navel up and in, and as if our upper body is overflowing like a waterfall. Upper body overflowing, taking some really deep breaths, extending the exhale. And from here, with that left leg that is straight, we're going to tilt our foot out onto the side, so coming to the outer edge of that foot there. And this might start to feel really intense as we're getting up all along the side of the leg, the back of the leg, into the outer hip here. So just notice how that feels, and as always, back off and come out of it if it's too intense or if it's causing pain. Just breathing deeply here and sending your hips towards the sky and really sinking into the hip socket. You can really have a deep bend in that right knee if it feels nice there, pressing into the foot as you send the hips up high. And from here, another addition. Moving the block or moving the hands, we're going to go into a side stretch. So leaning over towards the left side. You can take the block out nice and long here, really stretching the upper body. Really coming into that side hip, sinking back into it a little bit more. Take one more deep breath in and out. Return back to center, place the foot back on the floor, have the knees bent here. Looking to a strengthening and stabilizing movement to come up. So hands can be on the hip if your lower back is a little weaker, if you'd like a softer practice tonight, or have the hands come up above the head, press into the heels, bend the knees, and from the heels, you're going to push into the heels, hug the navel in, and push up. Hands come down. Coming into the other side now, so hands come up above the head, have some space between the ears, shoulders glide down the back. We're going to bend the knees, sink the hips back, hug the navel in, protect the lower back, and then forward fold. Allow the body to ripple and wave over the legs. Allow the head to be heavy, the crown towards the floor, tuck the chin. And this time we're keeping the left leg bent, straightening the right leg, so drawing the knee up. The thigh muscle is nice and tight here. Just give it a little tap, see if it's engaged and activated. Hugging the navel to the spine. On the exhale, maybe allowing the upper body to become a little bit heavier, to spill over the legs. Nestling the thigh into the hip socket. You can just play around with how deep you bend that left knee to find something that feels really nice. And then tilting to the outer edge of the foot of the straight leg, just tilting onto the side, and it's going to intensify this stretch here. Up on the outer hip. Might even feel it in the back of the knee, even the calf, the heel. A deep exhale, deep, long exhale. Forward fold's really great to just relieve stress. So you just let everything go. We just hang nice and heavy. The legs activated. Now coming over to that side, so we come over to the right leg And stretching that block nice and long, so we're really lengthening through the spine. Really allowing the hip to be nice and deep in its socket there. And play around with either pushing the block away from you, so really extending through the vertebrae, pushing the block away, or even pulling it towards you. Seeing how that feels, noticing what happens when we activate the body in a different way. Deep breath in, and then exhale, take the block back to the center, place the foot back on the floor, bend the knees. We're going to do that strengthening, stabilizing way to get up. So the hands on the hips or hands out in front of you for a little bit more weight, a little bit more difficulty. Draw the navel in towards the belly, press into the heels and push up. Exhale, arms come down. Coming onto the floor, I like to give the legs a little shake here, just notice how they feel. Should be feeling a little bit more looser, but also stronger as well and more stabilised in their sockets. So to come down, have the feet on the floor, nice and tall on top of the sit bones, and holding just below the knees. Hug that navel in again, shine the heart up towards the sky, glide the chin back, tall throughout the crown. Hugging that navel in, we're just going to take ourselves nice and slowly down, drawing that navel in and rolling down. I feel a few little clicks as you come down. So allowing the spine to relax here. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Just pay attention to the lower back here. And then just maybe moving the knees side to side. Just allowing the lower back to release. It's always nice to draw the knees in and do just some really gentle circles here with the knees. One way and then the other way. Just giving that lower back a massage. Really softly and gently becoming connected to the lower back and the hips, the pelvis, all of this area. Just allowing it to unwind in its own time and release into the floor, being nice and supported here. When you're ready, just dropping one foot onto the ground and then the other. Have the heels nice and close to the buttocks. We're just going to bring some awareness into the pelvis here. So with your hands, if you can feel your sit bones, so you've got one on either side, two sit bones here. Either keep the hands there or just take them out to the sides. Allow the shoulders to just glide down nice and relaxed, not holding any tension in the face or the shoulders. Just smooth out any tension in the face. And then drop your attention, your awareness back down to the sit bones. And imagine that they're headlights. And you're going to tilt the headlights so they're down, pointing down, shining down towards the earth, towards the floor beneath you. So shine these lights down. It's a really subtle movement. We're not jamming or doing any big movements here. Really quite subtle, just with the headlights tilting them down. You're going to notice that the upper back lifts, the lower back lifts, and there's a gap there. And now shine the headlights towards the sky. And notice what happens to the lower back here. Should be flush against the earth. Might feel nice to be lengthening and extending, but if there's any pain or discomfort, just come back into maybe the hip circles or hugging the knees to the chest. And again, just moving these headlights down, putting them down towards the earth, and then shining them back up, and just noticing that pelvis tilting down and tilting up, that movement here. And now shining the headlights towards the sky. Notice what happens to the navel.
that it's drawing in towards the spine. Everything's kind of hugging in and being really nice and supported here. If you're holding onto that coin, just let it go. It takes a little bit to work with all these different muscles that's going on, all these different engagements. But just seeing how that feels when we shine the headlights towards the sky. We're hugging the navel in and we're letting the coin go. Notice that we're also pressing the feet into the earth as well. So we're activating the legs. And then just return to normal and see how that feels. So if you're ever experiencing some pain, maybe that will feel really nice to just shine the headlights towards the sky, drawing that navel in and out and just having that little bit of pressure, that movement, that activation to stabilize the pelvis, but while relieving and releasing the lower back here. From here, we're just going to come nice and close to the wall and then lower down and shimmy your legs up against the wall, and so your body is nice and close, having the legs nice and extended up towards the roof. We're just going to bend the right leg and place it just below the knee here. Now that might be enough intensity. You might just stay here and just try and breathe through this wherever you are. But if it feels okay and you'd like a little bit more sensation with the feet, we're going to flex them so we're protecting the knee joint. Flexing both feet and then having the lower back flush against the earth beneath you. So you're hugging that navel in, lower back, gently pressing into the ground. And then from here, starting to slide the left heel down the wall. Now just go a little to start with and just see how that feels. You might just stay here, rearrange the bent leg, the right leg. Just stay here for a moment for a few breaths. And then push the heel against the wall. Push it against and up the wall and see how that presses the lower back into the earth, into the ground beneath you. Perhaps feeling some sensation, some stretch into that outer hip on the right leg. You can even start to press that knee out, or if it feels better for more stabilizing. If it feels a little tender, you want some strength as well, you can place the right hand on the outside of the knee and press into the hand. So pressing into the right hand on the outside of the knee here. That will bring some more sensation into the stretch as well as some strengthening and stabilizing. And you can move that heel, slide it down the wall anytime you like. Just pressing the heel against and up the wall. Then release. Just pausing for a moment here, allowing the hips, the thigh bone to drop into the sockets, nice and heavy. Releasing that lower back into the earth and coming into the other side. So let's bend the left leg, place the foot underneath the knee, and you're just shuffling the foot so it's a little bit past the knee, so we're not pressing into that and making it uncomfortable. And flex the feet. Ensure that the lower back is flush against the floor. And then let's, if it's enough sensation, stay here. Otherwise, start to slide the heel down the wall. Maybe just a little bit to start. Just allowing the body to open up in its natural time. Pressing the heel up and against the wall. And then if you liked on the other side, taking the left hand on the outside of the knee and pressing into that knee. So we're strengthening and stabilizing the joints where they are. We're getting a really nice stretch to relieve pressure as well. Ensuring the lower back is nice and flush. Hug the navel in. And just breathe. Pressing that heel up and against the wall. And then release. This is always nice as well if you have some more time. Legs up against the wall is a beautiful pose just to de-stress and relax. Taking the legs back down. Then just finding some space. Again, coming down onto the back, having the knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Grab your block and have it between the knees. Now to do some bridge, but we're doing it in a really slow, rhythmic way. So we're de-stressing, relaxing, but we're strengthening as well. So heels come as closest to the buttocks as comfortable. See if you can touch your heels and glide them nice and close. Block between the knees and you're squeezing that block together. Just noticing your body where it is. And then just like we did at the start, you're going to point the headlights towards the roof, shining the lights up. Press the feet into the ground. And then from here, almost naturally, as if it's happening automatically, we start to raise the hips up. If you're holding onto that coin, just let it go, release it. Shining the hips towards the sky, coming into a bridge, press into the feet, squeeze the block, and take the knees towards the front. So lengthening through the thighs, through the knees, drop the coin, and then we're going to come back down. So exhaling, roll the spine down, really slowly. The navel's still hugged in, and then we let go. Give the toes a little wiggle. We're going to do that again, but we're going to add the arms in for a little extra breath and a little extra space in the body. Press into the feet, squeeze the blocks, shine the headlights towards the sky, and that should automatically start to lift the hips up. Take the knees to the front, really stretching along the thigh. And on an inhale, draw the hands up above the head. Taking a deep breath here, letting the coin go if you're holding on to it. And then exhale, start to bring the arms down. At the same time, roll the spine down. And this time we're going to bring the knees into the chest for a nice squeeze. If you like, you can bring forehead to knees as well. Squeeze. And then come down. We'll do that once more. Press into the feet, squeeze the block, shine the headlights towards the sky. Lift the hips. Extend the arms up, take a deep breath in, fill up the whole body, release the coin if you're holding it. And then exhale, take the arms down, straight arms, roll down the spine, and then draw the knees in, head to knees. Breathe out, hold it, hug it in. Beautiful, take the block to the side, let's move it out of the way. Take the head back down to the earth. Shoulders are nice and nestled in here. And then cross the left leg over the right knee, coming into a reclined cow face. So you're stacking the knees as much as possible, as much as feels nice. So we're not jamming or anything, just gently gliding them together to be stacked on top. Making sure the hips are nice and aligned here. Hug the navel in for that activation, release the coin, and then either having the hands below the knees on the legs, or if you can, slide the hands to the ankles or the shins, or even down to the feet here. And it's as if you're kicking the feet into the hands here, and you're trying to bust through the hands. So really you might be feeling it up the outer hip. You can draw the knees in a little closer to the chest. Kick the feet into the hands. and then release. Just windscreen wipe the legs, so drop them to the side, and then the other side. Before coming back up to center, we'll do the other leg. So this time the right knee goes on top, as if we're stacking the knees. Draw the knees towards the chest until it feels a little bit of sensation, like a nice stretch. And then either hands below the knees or glide them down to the shins, the ankles, or hold them to the feet. Find what feels good for your body. And then again, kicking the feet into the hands, hugging that navel in, drawing the knees towards the chest for reclined cow face pose. You've got in that outer hip. And again, taking some nice deep breaths. And then release. Take the feet nice and wide this time, wider than before, and then just drop to one side. And then just drop to the other. And then just coming up, so pressing into the hands, sitting up nice and tall, coming into a bit of a forward fold with a little bit of difference here. So taking the left leg nice and long. Now the heel, you're really pressing out through the heel, drawing the toes back towards the shin. With the other leg, just placing it on top. So just like in when we're up the wall, just taking the ankle just above the knee here. You can have your block for a little bit of support to prop the knee up here. I'll just show you from this angle. So our feet are flexed. We're sitting up nice and tall on the sit bones. And this might be enough intensity here. Otherwise, we can start to come down. So again, draw that navel in to sit up nice and tall first. Glide the chin back. Allow the shoulders to drop down. Let's inhale up. And then exhale. We're going to start to walk the hands towards the foot, the outstretched foot coming over. Now at the start, let's stay up nice and tall. So you're hugging the navel in, lengthening through the lower back, and shining energy out the crown of the head, tucking the chin in, but the heart is nice and lifted. And then let's just relax, so let it go and come over that leg, dropping the head, just going to where you feel some sensation. You're really pressing out the heels. Inhale, come back up. Changing the legs, so straighten the right leg, cross the left leg, and place it on the thigh above the knee. You can again use a block to support that knee if you like, or a cushion or a pillow. Sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones, draw, hug the navel in. Let's lift the arms up, stretch up towards the sky, and then let's just start to walk the hands towards the foot, shining the chest, shining the heart up first, just to really lengthen out of our hips. Imagine that your thighs are coming back into the hip sockets, but you're lifting up and out from there. And then from this, let's just relax and let go. Drop the head, looking towards the navel. Still really pushing out the heels. The right hip just drawing back into the hip socket. And as you come forward, exhaling all the air, and then walk back up. And then for our last pose before Savasana, it's just going to be a twist. Take the left leg out long, draw the right foot up. So it's just in next to the knee, but have some gaps, so maybe a handprint, so you've got some space there. Let's sit up nice and tall again. So we're still strengthening that lower back when we're sitting up nice and tall. We're not jamming it so we're sitting up really, really straight. Think lengthen the spine, and we're hugging that navel in, so that abdominal work as well. Extend through the left heel. Draw that knee up so it's nice and strong. That thigh is activated there. And then you're just going to hug the left arm to the right knee. So with that elbow, you really nestle the knee right in there. From this position, sit up nice and tall. So really lengthen up through the spine. Draw the chin back in. And the knee is going to press into the forearm, and the forearm is going to press into the knee. So you're not allowing the knee to come in. Activate it, press it out, and then that arm presses back in. Let's inhale, the arm comes up, really stretch, nice and tall, and then just let it land behind you. And we're going for length and being nice and tall first. And then as you exhale, maybe start to twist from the belly. So really like you're swiveling, you're rinsing out the belly here. Maybe taking the gaze back behind you, but not dumping back, or really lifting up. So the twist might not be as pronounced, but we're nice and long, and then we're having that beautiful twist throughout the whole spine, pressing the knee into the arm into the knee. And then exhale, come back to the center. You might like to do a little opposition one here where you just open up to the other side before coming back to center. Swapping legs, extend the right leg long, bend the left knee, having some space between both legs. Let's extend through that heel, that leg's nice and activated. Draw the knee up, the thighs nice and engaged. Hug that knee up, and then let's twist. Let's take the right arm to the left knee. Knee nestles into the elbow there, so it's nice and cozy in there. Let's press the knee into the arm into the knee, and that in itself is going to start to twist you, but let's make sure that we're nice and long through the spine, through the top of the crown. We're coming up and out of our hips here. Lift the arm to rise you even higher. Take the arm back. I like to be right on the fingers to help me extend even further out of that hip. And then let's start to, with the exhale, start to twist from the navel. Rinsing, a really nice release of pressure from the lower back, all the way up into the shoulders. Pressing knee into arm, arm into knee. And it will help you twist a little more. If there's any pain or discomfort, just ease off and find something that feels good. And then come back to center. Extend both knees. Move the block out of the side. Now you're going to need your cushions, your pillow or your bolster. You're going to have it underneath the knees for Savasana. And just rolling down the spine, you might like to just come onto the forearms. And then just having, so we tuck the tailbone under. And then from there, with that really long, lengthened lower back, you come on down, tuck the chin to extend the neck. If you'd like to do any last movements, one that's really nice, you can do this at any time as well, is just doing some circles with the knee one way and then the other to really just juicy up the hip area, the hip socket. It's just nice and supple and released. Any last little squeezes. And then let's just go along the cushions, the bolsters underneath the knees to really just further support and nourish that lower back. Arms nice and wide out to the sides, palms facing up. Allow the feet just to roll outwards. From the feet rolling outwards, the knees roll out. From this angle, our hips can just glide down into the sockets. Knowing that our pelvis has been nice and stabilised.
All the muscles have been strengthened, activated. And they've also been released, they've been nourished, they've been moistened. And then they've been able to unwind and let go. Even the belly is able just to relax now and let go. Your back feeling so supported, the knees raised against the floor. It just finds its own neutral, natural curve. It finds its proper alignment all by itself, and all you have to do now is just breathe and be still for the next few moments. If you have time, feel free to stay longer. Otherwise, before moving, sending some loving, supporting energy to the lower back, acknowledging all it does, knowing that I am supported. Draw the knees into the chest. Start to move the fingers, maybe rock the knees side to side. Then just coming onto the side, rocking over to the side, pausing for a moment here, knowing that you have cared for and looked after your back in the best possible way. Before pressing into the hands and coming up. Namaste. This has been a routine for sciatica and back pain. Return to it anytime you need and take these practices, these movements, these positions into your day-to-day life.